Hey everyone, welcome back. We're at the 11th episode of the Brothers of Broad Street podcast. I'm here with Bryce Ellig. I'm Jim Croger. It's a very sad night to be a Philadelphia 76ers fan, just to be a Philadelphia sports fan in general. I'm going to let Bryce do the talking for a little bit here in the beginning because I'm definitely a little bit upset to start the show here tonight.
I mean, what can you say? Unfortunately, Jim, I think you can agree with me. I mean, when you grow up being a diehard Philadelphia sports fan, you're used to this. I mean, it's just the way it is. And I think I can agree. I kind of been saying it throughout this podcast and throughout the series. I never really thought the Sixers had it. I never really thought they were a well balanced, team. I always think there was just something missing, even on their good nights. Like I just felt like something wasn't clicking, and you could tell with this team, like it's not there. Like we have three max players, and yes, Joel Embiid, no doubt, is an unbelievable player, a top three player in the NBA, especially when he's full blown healthy. But he cannot be the guy at the end of a game when you have when you're down 5 points with 40 seconds left. You can't give the ball to Joel Embiid. And it proved that he just turned over the ball. They got an easy bucket and the game was over. And another thing is, at the end of the day, like Tobias Harris is, I really do think, a solid player. I think he's a really good player, but potentially an all-star type player. But when it comes to the fourth quarter, my man he falls asleep. He just becomes irrelevant, and it's embarrassing. I mean, he's a max player. He's getting the same amount of money LeBron James, Kevin Durant is getting, and he does not perform like that. We all saw what KD did 2 nights ago, dropping 48 in a loss. I mean, that guy can play. James Harden, these guys can score. And Tobias Harris, you just admit the first half he's great, but when it comes to that second half, he falls asleep. And the big key I want to make is, at the end of the day, it's time, Jim. I was a big supporter of him. I tried to ride with him, but it is time. It is time. The Ben Simmons era in Philadelphia should come to an end. It's time, I think, on both parts. I think, one, Ben Simmons needs a change of scenery. I think it really, the big key play is we're all going to talk about. It's all going to be known. It's going to be talked about tomorrow. Is him passing up a wide open dunk or layup to give it to Matisse. It makes no sense whatsoever. I mean, I don't even understand the play there. He's similar to just Markel Fultz. He's a mental head case. I actually was watching summer league highlights of him yesterday, and he used to shoot the basketball. I don't know what happened, and I'm over it.
He was pulling up right inside the 3-point line, hitting jumpers.
Confidently.
It was tough shots. Continue. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just had.
No, I mean, I'm listen. I'm a fan of Ben. I do, and there's parts of his game that are really good, but I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, I watched plenty of times. Oh, him running down 3-on-2 just to turn at the free throw line and hand it off to somebody else. He has no confidence in himself. And at the end of the day, this is the National Basketball Organization. Everybody needs to be confident in themselves. Every single player that touches a court has to be confident in the shot they're shooting. It can't be, oh, I don't know if I should shoot this. I don't know if I should shoot that. And Ben Simmons is just a complete liability. He's a mental head case. His time in Philly is just, it's over. The Embiid, Simmons thing is just not going to work. Our big three, honestly, is pathetic. I think you can agree. Like, I mean, you want to call this a big three? We got Tobias Harris, who I like Tobias a lot, but he falls asleep in the fourth quarter and he doesn't provide anything. Joel Embiid's absolutely fantastic, but you can agree with me. He can't be the guy to give the ball to when you need, a quick basket, or with 30 seconds left, he's just not that guy. And it's a shame. We easily should have beat the Hawks this series. Easily should have beat them. There's multiple bleeds we blew. But at the end of the day, Jim, I think you agree with me. The Sixers did not deserve to win this game tonight.
When you came home after the game two victory, right? Game two victory.
Game two victory.
You came home after the game two victory. We went on the air. We did the podcast, and you told me, "Listen, I don't trust them." And I gotta be honest, being the diehard Sixers fan that I am, I didn't truly believe you. I've always been wary about Doc Rivers and Ben Simmons. Even from that game, I was very frustrated with the both of them, and I talked about that in our couple episodes prior. But I did think they were going to be able to pull away against this Atlanta Hawks team that has kind of fallen underneath the radar all year. All
I
year they've been
I
underneath the radar.
I said, man, I said they were a good team. Like they were
And
a good team to just sleep on.
and I'm thinking, dude, they're the number one seed. They only had 23 losses this entire year. Like, we have our guy Embiid. Tobias has been balling out. Before the season series started, he was balling out. Simmons will step up and just take over, cover trade. I just thought we were going to come away and win this series. I thought it was a guaranteed win. I did. And then, that game 5 loss at home, I'm thinking to myself, like, this is not it. This is not the team. And I thought it'd be typical Philly to go back to the Atlanta, win, come back home, win, whatever, just give us a quick little scare. But frankly, you're right. They did not deserve to win this series. They did not have it at any point in time. Um, they got these huge leads throughout the game, and you would think that a number one seed, our big three, would just step on the Atlanta Hawks' throats, and just end the game. And that never happened. You did not see that. Um, to touch on your one thing, I gotta disagree with Joel Embiid at the end of the games. People are going to say, "Oh, he's not clutch. He's not showing up in the fourth quarter." I do think that he is showing up because, but because you don't have a point guard, what happens is defenses can just go in on your big man. They could double cover. They could set these defensive schemes up to where he just is completely outmanned. He can't do anything. I mean, at one point, Joel Embiid's getting double, triple covered in the corners. He's trying to make cross court passes to two other guys that are open, and that gets picked off by a trailing Hawks defender. So he's just outnumbered. But if you look at the Denver Nuggets with Nikola Jokic, okay, Jamal Murray tore his ACL. He's the starting point guard of that team. He facilitates the offense, no matter how good the Joker is and how much. I think Joker's better than Murray, and I think everybody can agree with me. The guy's a walking triple-double.
MVP.
MVP of the league. So when you don't have your point guard, no matter who it is, it's hard to facilitate an offensive plan. Ben Simmons, you're 100% right, is an offensive liability. And the Sixers tonight, when he was on the court, they were playing a man down. They were on the offensive end. They were playing a man down. So
honestly, Jim, I would say they were playing two men down. I wanted to make this quick point real quick. George Hill was.
Why was he out on the court, dude?
Why did he get so much playing time in the series? He does not fit the team at all. He couldn't hit threes. He couldn't score. He couldn't pass the ball well. Like, I don't understand why.
I'm not gonna sit up here and hype up and act like Danny Green is the Danny Green from 5 years ago, but I do like Danny Green way more than I like George Hill.
I told you Danny Green was a huge factor, and we missed him the last couple of games.
It's not like he was the second best player on the team, though, is what I'm trying to say. It's not like I'm saying.
No, I know, but I thought he was a way better fit on this team than George Hill was.
In a game like this, he would have made a difference when it comes to veteran leadership, presence on the court, knowing the different times of the games, when to do different things. I mean, if you look, Matisse is an awesome defender. And I want to get back to the Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, to talk, but Matisse is an awesome defender. But when you're down 93-92, okay, in a close game with a minute left, Matisse, I don't care how good you are or how many blocks a game you get, how many steals you get, you cannot foul Huerter. He was the best player on the Hawks tonight, okay? The guy dropped 27 points.
He was the best. He was, to me, I think he was, honestly, I know this sounds crazy, not the best. He was by far the most consistent player in this series. He had one bad game.
Oh, in the series,
he was not.
I thought you were going to stay on the court tonight.
No, he was not. He was not the best player for them, like the series, but he's a phenomenal player. He was what Tyler Hero was last year.
Yeah, he did. And this we're going to get into this later, but yeah. Matisse, that is a rookie mistake. That's a mistake that not a rookie.
That was the game.
Not a rookie, but that is a young player's mistake. Danny Green does not make that mistake. And that's
you live and die by that. If he hits that 3-pointer, then he hits that 3-pointer. But fouling him either way, Kevin Huerter's not missing three. He's not missing 3. If you're lucky, he'll miss 1, but he's going to make at least 2 of them. I knew he was going to make all 3. You can't do that. That really ended the game for them.
No, yeah. First off, I totally forgot. I want to give a shout out. Happy Father's Day to all the dads.
Yeah, happy Father's Day.
Sunday to, very big holiday. I was watching the game with my dad tonight, and after the Matisse Thybulle foul, he turned and looked at me. He's like, "This game's over," because
my dad said the same thing. He's like, you can't send this Huerter ginger dude to the line. He's going to make all 3, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, and then the game went 96-92, and then you're done. And it's not like even I know Embiid. They went back down the court, and then Embiid got the ball and he turned it over.
Jim, even if Sixers somehow pull a 3 out,
exactly. The game's over. The game's over. The momentum was drained. You felt it. I wasn't even in the arena. You could feel it. But I want to touch on what you said. I do think with the way centers are evolving, to go back to the Joker point, Joker didn't have his point guard Murray. Murray's an all-star, stud player. And you just look, the Denver Nuggets were not the Denver Nuggets that we all know and watch. I truly, truly think if the Sixers can somehow get a competent point guard on the offensive end, someone who could facilitate the offense, you will see a different Embiid in the fourth quarter because the pressure defensively from the other team goes off Embiid. You can't crowd the paint anymore. You got to spread out on the perimeter, and then Embiid's getting his points down low. So, listen, you can't average 18, 19 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists all year long. You can't. And then come into the biggest series of your playoff career up until this point, like it is. I mean, the Raptors series was obviously huge, but they were still very young. This Hawks series, we all expected them to win to get to the conference finals. How do you only drop 5 points? How does Ben Simmons only drop 5 points?
It's over.
It's sad. It's sad. And listen, I know players get the yips. It happens. It happens. And I'm gonna make a joke right now. Like, if I'm Ben Simmons' agent, call up David Goggins, call up Michael Jordan's trainer, Tim Grover, get this guy in a gym for a month and have these guys just flip a switch in Ben Simmons' mind. I'm being dead serious. Like, call Tim Grover.
I agree with you. Tim Grover, Coach Kobe Bryant too.
Yeah, Kobe Bryant, Dwayne Wade, Charles Barkley, Jordan. He's now coaching Russell Wilson. Like, these are all stud.
These are top of the best players in the league.
All Hall of Fame players. They're all Hall of Fame
and
players.
all winners, all got one thing in common. They've all won.
They all have won. And I don't know how much it's going to cost you or whatever, but Ben Simmons has the money. If I know, and I heard on the radio the other day, Ben Simmons definitely does work on his shot. I just do think he's scared and he's got a mental problem when he gets in the game. You're right.
I saw he spent a whole hour before the game shooting free throws tonight. Whole hour.
Bryce, you're underneath that basket. You would have been able to know to put it up the layup. Just put it up.
I would have at least shot it. I would have at least shot it. If it gets blocked, it gets blocked. He could have easily dunked it. He's a 6'10" guy. He's a 6'10" guy that could just easily dunk. I don't understand it.
And he dished it off to. It wasn't even like he dished it off to Embiid or Seth Curry or someone who's going to make it. He dished it off to Matisse. Matisse gets fouled. Matisse goes to the free throw line, misses both of them.
No, he made one. Made one, missed the other. Either way, though.
I forget.
Either way, though, the Hawks still had the lead. They went from a tie game to a 1-point lead for the Hawks, and that matters at the end of the game.
It's sad. Listen, I mean, like you.
That killed the momentum, though. Like, that was like a point. Like, the Hawks, that was like a free that was like a free knowledge thing for the Hawks. They were like, oh, Ben Simmons won't even shoot a layup.
I was about to say, it's a huge confidence boost when you're the Atlanta Hawks and you see their starting point guard who's underneath the basket, dish it off. You're like, oh, I got him. We got it. You know what I mean? We got it. We got it. So, like you, I've been a big fan of the process. I will live and die by the process. I'm always going to be a Philadelphia Sixers fan. But it's just a shame to see where Ben Simmons came in at the Summer League throwing up shots to now this point. The yips are a problem. It happens to players. It happened to Fultz. It happens to other players around the league. Sometimes it ruins their careers. But if I'm Ben Simmons' agent, if I'm Ben Simmons, you know, it's out there on social media. There's guys around the world that can help with this problem. I'm calling up Tim Grover and saying, yo, can you fly in and help me out? I'll do whatever it takes. Just help me out. But listen, I
think you got to start thinking about trades. Honestly, you got to start thinking about what you could get for Ben Simmons. And to me, a big name that pops up, and people aren't going to like this, but he's a really good player and he's a great shooter. And to me, he's similar to like a Tobias Harris. He's a borderline all-star. You could get a guy like CJ McCollum. And I know that sounds crazy. You could get a guy like CJ McCollum. He would improve the team so much more. And we could go draft a point guard or go sign a point guard in free agency because we need a shooter. And CJ McCollum will provide that. I'm sure we could get another nice little piece out of the Blazers too. I think that's the guy you should look to trade for.
It's funny, dude, because it's like I literally was just about to say the same player because Ben Simmons' draft or trade value has obviously declined rapidly,
significantly
last year, rapidly. And if Portland is serious about blowing up their team, getting rid of
perfect example is that CJ McCollum is in the same boat as Ben Simmons. He's coming off his worst playoff series. He played absolutely terrible. Portland's looking to get rid of him. we're probably in the same boat with Simmons. I believe that's a perfect trade partner. I think that's a perfect match.
Bryce, I was just gonna say the absolute thing.
Yeah.
Absolute same thing. Because listen, if Damian Lillard turns around and says, listen, I want out, Dame's gone. And it's not like CJ McCollum has any value with the postseason that he just had. So Daryl Morey gives up the GM at Portland a call and say, listen, we'll trade our point guard. You give us CJ McCollum. And I honestly think that Philadelphia will have to eat some money and maybe give up a pick, because that's how bad Ben played this series. He lost all value. So would you be willing to give up a pick and part of Simmons' contract to bring in CJ? Because that's what Portland's going to ask. If the Sixers call,
I think that the pick has to have something involved, a swap pick or a protected pick or something. It can't just be a straight pick for CJ
Okay.
McCollum and Ben. Because at the end of the day, Ben is still. I mean, I don't know how old CJ is off the top of my head. He's probably around 27 or 28. Ben is still like only 24 years old, so he still is younger. And obviously, Ben is athletic, and I mean, in my opinion, we can all agree he's probably should have been Defensive Player of the Year, possibly. You got to think that way. He's still a great defender and still a great rebounder, but
I know. But and listen, I
I
mean,
think I could see us giving up Ben Simmons in a pick, and them giving up CJ McCollum and potentially another little side piece. Maybe that guy Simmons on. I think his name's also Simmons on their team. I forget the guy who won
Jonathan.
the guy who won the dunk contest. What's his name?
Oh.
I forget his name. If we could get like maybe him or something, I would do it. I forget the guy who won the dunk contest. He's their backup point guard. He's not that bad.
The value has significantly declined, and I think it's
But
going to
time will pass, Jim. You got to think time will pass. People will forget that stuff. They do.
Yeah, right now, it's like recency bias. You just saw what you're going to get, so no one's like.
Yeah, but people's opinions will change if you could get a guy like Ben Simmons a month from now. Because at the end of the day, Jim, he is like if he could shoot the ball, he's absolutely one of the best players in the league.
Yes, but listen, this is not a problem of his shooting form or missing shots, or like he's not shooting at all. So the if is the biggest word. Like if he'll ever shoot, he's got something wrong mentally, because it's the yips and it happens. So like when LeBron was his age, at least LeBron was throwing up shots. He wasn't making them.
Yeah.
And people always said LeBron's got to develop a perimeter shot.
Back in the day, LeBron James was known. He could not, when he first joined Miami in 2011, he could not shoot the three ball.
But he came
shot it. He shot it, but he didn't shoot it well. And then he started shooting, and now he's a decent 3-point shooter.
Then now he's a good perimeter shooter. With Giannis, at least Giannis is throwing up shots.
He shoots 2 3-pointers a game.
They're eventually going to fall in. And if you looked at the Brooklyn Nets last night in that ball game, it's not like they would back up and say, "Yo, Giannis, shoot it," and Giannis would pull up and he would sink 2 out of 4. He would sink 3 out of 5. He was making them, and that allowed the Bucks to just creep back into this game. And then just with Simmons, he's pulling up to the 3-point line and he's saying, "Here you go, Seth Curry. Here you go, Embiid."
Simmons is literally useless on offense. He is useless. Useless.
It's a shame because I'm the biggest LeBron fan. If's a big word, but if someone can help Ben Simmons get the help with the yips and figure it out, Bryce, this dude can be the next LeBron James. He can. He's got the athletic ability to be the next LeBron James of this league.
Yeah, but I think it's come to the point, Jim. This isn't Ben Simmons' second or third year. This is Ben Simmons' like 5th year in the league. If it hasn't come yet, Jim, it's not coming. I'm just being honest.
Yeah.
Unless he gets some serious help off the mental, like mentally, like honestly, Ben Simmons is like Markelle Fultz. They have talent. It's there. They're mental head cases. And at the end of the day, if you're a mental head case, there's no, you can only fix yourself. You could get suggestions. You could get help. You go to therapy. You could get a trainer, whatever this and that. But at the end of the day, that is on you. If you're a mental head case, you're a mental head case. If you're not confident, then you're not confident.
I mean, we just talked about why is George Hill on the court? Well, one, George Hill, like Danny Green, I'm not saying he's as good as Danny Green, but he's like Danny Green when it comes to the veteran presence. He's been there before. But you have George Hill coming in for Ben Simmons, right? To play point guard, or I don't know, however it lined up. If you're a defense and you see George Hill come in, are you afraid of George Hill beating you? No. So where does your attention go towards? It goes towards Joel Embiid. So once it goes towards Joel, I mean, on that spin move, I know Gallinari, popped it out. But even if Joel turned around, he had the center right in his face, Capella, and he had John Collins on the right-hand side. So he wasn't going anywhere.
The game was over once the foul happened.
Yeah.
It was over, yeah.
But in the fourth quarter, they're not afraid. There's no other player on that team bringing up the ball. Seth Curry is awesome. He's the second best.
Awesome.
He's a huge. I like watching JJ Redick, but he's a huge upgrade over JJ Redick.
Huge.
Like, I mean,
I always explain Redick was so overrated when it came to six. Man, he shot the ball 20 seconds on the shot clock, pulled up from three, like would break.
I'm not saying Redick was good. He wasn't a bad player.
I liked Redick, but he was not nearly as good as people thought.
He wasn't $21 million a year. What we gave him that 1 year. He wasn't. No,
absolutely not.
So Seth Curry needs to stay. That was a great trade by Daryl Morey to ship out Richardson. So him and Embiid are awesome on the pick and roll. I do think Tobias Harris should stay. Listen, Tobias Harris, no matter how poorly he did shoot, at least he shot and he did drop a double-double. It's not like he didn't show up.
No, I don't think I've been one of the number one supporters of Tobias Harris. People that know me well and have listened to my sports takes before this podcast and stuff know that I was a bigger fan, and I still stick to this point that I liked signing him over Jimmy Butler. I still stick to that point just because I know that sounds crazy. But we saw what happened with the Jimmy Butler thing. They're a fluke. That team was a fluke. We'll get into that later. But Tobias Harris has the talent. It's just he's falling asleep in the fourth quarter. He's proving to not be a clutch player, a non-factor in the fourth quarter. Yes, he hit some layups at the end and this and that, but at the end of the day, he shot terrible from the 3-point. And this is a 3-point league, Jim. It's a 3-point league.
To me, it's not. To me, just to touch on that real quick, I never, I know the media constructed it as it was for the Sixers. It was Tobias Butler. I never ever believe that report. I truly think it was Butler or Simmons, because if you look, did you see that podcast that him and Redick did? Did you ever watch that?
Yeah, I watched a little bit of it. I kind of forget it a little bit.
I'll send you the link.
He hated Brett Brown.
I'll send you the link again. My man Jack Bergman reminded me last week. He sent me the link of Butler and Redick talking. The issue was with Brett Brown. He did not like Brett Brown as a coach, but he would tell Brett, "Yo, this dude is not a point guard." Talking about Ben Simmons, put him at the 4, put him at power forward, move Tobias up to small forward. Let me run the offense. Butler wanted to run the offense. If you look when he went to the Miami Heat, Jimmy Butler's the point guard in the Miami Heat.
Yeah.
I know people can say Dragic's the point guard. No, Butler brings up the ball in the Miami Heat. So I think the issue was before Butler got traded, it was Butler saying, "Yo, do you want me or Ben? Do you want me or Ben?" And back then, Ben was 22 years old. So you're obviously going to take the 22-year-old over the aging veteran. But listen, Butler was right. Butler was 100% right.
He was 1,000% right.
Listen, if Butler's our point guard, I know things would be different in trades and all that stuff. But if you have Butler at the point guard, Joel Embiid, Tobias Harris at small forward, Seth Curry at shooting guard, we're winning that game. Butler was clutch. He was a closer. He still is. I know the Heat was a fluke. The Heat last year are like the Hawks this year, a very underrated team. They fly underneath the radar.
The Heat were a full-blown fluke. It was a weird. You got to account.
They're not a fluke. They beat the Bucks.
You have to account for this. Last season was a weird season. Literally, they went 2 months without those teams that were hot and whatever this and that went 2 months without playing. The Heat caught fire in the bubble. And that's what happened. And in the finals, it proved that the Lakers were a much better team, and they finished them off. But at the end of the day, the Heat weren't that great of a team, and they got swept by the Bucks for a reason. They really
weren't. The Hawks are that great of a team.
I think they're a lot better than people think they are. Just because I think guys like Gallinari and Bogdanovic have been playing unbelievable.
But that's what I'm saying. Last year,
but I think their team is. Their team is very well rounded. Like think about it. Capella knows his role. Like he gets the rebounds. John Collins is a consistent scorer and plays our right defense.
Yeah, this is exactly. Yeah, I'm saying to compare the two teams, the Hawks and the Heat. The Heat of last year and the Hawks of this year are flying underneath the radar, and I'm putting my money on Hawks beating the Bucks. I am, and I'm not just saying that.
I'm a Giannis guy. You know I'm a Giannis guy.
Hawks are beating the Bucks. I'm telling you, Hawks are beating.
Not
the
horrible.
I
can get behind it. I can get behind it a little bit.
You didn't think the Bucks were beating the Nets?
No, yeah, 1,000% no. But I think we all agreed. But James Harden folded. James Harden folded.
He got hurt. Yeah, no. That's another thing that we have to talk about too. Is listen. I know people get this league gets a lot of slander because they take days off, they load manage and stuff like that. But that was the quickest turnaround from last year's bubble to this year, there's no reason why these players aren't getting hurt. Like the Hawks, they were depleted. They had a lot of guys injured. Bogdanovich went down. Trae Young had a bad shoulder injury.
They were one of the worst teams. They were one of the worst teams in the league in the beginning of the year.
The Heat were plagued with injuries early on. Jimmy Butler missed a lot of games. And now look at the Brooklyn Nets. Like, listen, if the Brooklyn Nets had Kyrie Irving last night, who wins that game?
Oh, it's not even close.
If they have a healthy James Harden, who wins that game? You know what I'm saying?
No, similar to like the Bucks deserved to lose that game last night. We were watching; they deserved to lose. They won, but they deserved to lose that game. Blake Griffin played great. I mean, the real reason why the Nets lost is Joe Harris played absolutely horrible basketball.
He actually he played bad, but he played better than the 6 other games in that series. So he did improve a little bit.
Yeah, but I mean, he missed that 3-pointer at the end that cost him the series.
Oh, you can't go from being the best 3-point percentage in the league.
No, you're paid $70 million like Joe Harris to literally just hit 2 3-pointers a night, and you're not hitting them. Then there's an issue.
But it does raise a question with all these injuries. I mean, like someone's probably gonna. I never want to see anybody get hurt, but someone's probably gonna get hurt next series. Danny Green went down for us. Joel Embiid tore his meniscus again. Like these guys, you can't have a quick turnaround like that. So I'm hoping this offseason, just every team around the league can get healthy again.
No, yeah, definitely. I mean, this is obviously everything's a weird year, and everyone had to rush back, and it's just everything's weird. Another key a point I wanted to make was I was even worried if the Sixers won this series. I think Joel Embiid, I think he was at his max point. Honestly, I think he was exhausted.
Well, and
you could see it, especially tonight. I mean, he was airballing shots. He airballed 2 or 3 shots.
I saw that happens. It does, but that is when you start airballing, your legs are gone. It is fatigue, and I gotta agree with you there.
Listen, Joel was consistently knocking down mid-range jumpers like they were nothing. Tonight proved to me he was listen, and I'm not faulting or anything, but I definitely think even if we would have passed the Hawks, I do think we had a chance to beat the Bucks, but man, I don't think there was any way we were going to beat them at least the first game.
Listen, you can't expect Embiid, 7'2", 290-pound center to be able to play 45 minutes a night. You can't. Now with a guy like Kevin Durant, who's 100 pounds less than Embiid, you can see him having the ability. You know what I'm saying? He's not 100 pounds. I'm just exaggerating, but I'm saying those guys are more athletic. A guy like Ben Simmons, Ben Simmons should be able to play the entire game.
Tobias Harris should be able to play the entire game.
Tobias Harris should be athletically. Giannis plays the entire game. Harden played the entire game on a torn hamstring. Smaller guys should be expected to play the entire game. For Embiid, I'm not giving him a break or an excuse, but a big man run up and down that court. I mean, you're going to get tired. You're banging bodies down low. You're getting fouled nonstop. You're going to tire out. But man, it's. Sorry. Go ahead. Say your point.
I think we're all disappointed and like upset, but I don't think any of us are shocked.
It's funny you brought that up because I'm thinking to myself today, I'm like, 2 years ago in the game 7 in the conference semis, I think that was a crazy shot. I do think, that's just the way sports go. And I think if we win that series, we win the finals because of injuries and how it all played out. But today it never felt like we had it. You know what I'm saying?
No, especially throughout the series, we didn't deserve to win, but especially tonight, we proved we did not deserve to win.
Yeah,
the Hawks did not play a good basketball game tonight.
Trae Young made 2 shots in the field.
I mean, they were missing all night. The only guy that I really know off the top of my head that played great was Danilo Gallinari. Played really well for them tonight. He hit all.
And Herter. Herter also dropped.
Oh yeah, Herter was unbelievable. Yeah, but besides that, the Hawks definitely did not deserve to win this game. I think they can even agree to that. But the Sixers just doubled down and proved why they didn't deserve to win the series. I mean, there was times where in the beginning of the third quarter, or in the middle of the third quarter, there was like a 3-point drought between both teams. 3-minute drought where like just nobody scored. There was no scoring at all.
Yeah, that happened. I know in one point, I think it was in the third quarter, the Hawks went on a pretty hefty run, like an 8-0 run, a 10-0 run. That helped them get back in it, and that quieted down the crowd. I got to ask you this question because I know it's getting late, but We're talking about Daryl Morey trading Ben Simmons, getting rid of some guys, changing up the team. Bryce, does Joel Embiid go to that front office and say, trade me? Honestly, does he request a trade? That's what I'm more scared of because this dude's in the prime of his career. He was the runner up for MVP. He's averaging 30 and 10 a night. He's shooting 85% from the free throw, 40% from 3-point. If I'm Joel Embiid, honestly, I don't want to see him go. He's my favorite player. But do you request a trade?
I think it's possible. I think it's very possible. I mean, honestly, I can't blame him in a way because at the end of the day, Jim, Tobias Harris, Ben Simmons, and Joel Embiid are not winning a title together. It's not happening. It's not in the cards. I don't care
Because
what
of
you
Ben
tell me.
Simmons.
I don't care what anybody says. And yes, it's because of Ben Simmons, and it's also because at the end of the day, Jim, you kind of think I love Tobias Harris. I do. I think he's a good player, but he's getting paid the same amount of money Kevin Durant is. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and he's just not that guy. And I get NBA. NBA is like the MLB, man. If you're somewhat decent, you're going to get paid. There's plenty of guys in the league that are like Luke Kennard is a perfect example. He's getting paid $60 million. The Clippers play him 5 minutes a game. Like it's, you know what I mean? It's the NBA. You'll get paid if you have a decent playoffs, but yeah, it's just not in the cards. I think maybe Joel won't ask for a trade. I think it.
I go to you for
I think
Bryce.
it. I think it depends. I think he kind of wants the Sixers to push him, maybe get a better player, like AKA get rid of Ben Simmons, get a better player, get a CJ McCollum, keep Danny
Now,
Green,
if you
keep
get
Seth
now
Curry.
if you get CJ McCollum's a shooting guard.
Yeah,
Okay. I really don't think he can orchestrate an offense. I think that's what we need. We need a point guard. Now,
yeah, but we blew it. We blew it with any chance of getting like a Damian Lillard type guy is gone
now
because Ben
here's
Simmons won't be worth that.
I want CJ McCollum, but I think you got to keep Seth Curry and CJ McCollum and Seth Curry play the same position. I'd rather have Seth Curry, honestly.
Well, I think you could move. I think you could move. I think you could move CJ to small forward and put Tobias at 4. I don't know if they.
I know. Yeah, but Tobias didn't really play too well power forward a couple years ago. And I don't know if CJ McCollum's that good of a defender to play small forward. I see what you're thinking. Maybe go small, do like a small lineup.
Yeah,
Here's
I
a
mean,
question. Here's what
we still
now
got Joel Embiid in the paint, so I'm not too worried about it, honestly.
I want to ask you this. First off, I go to you for Bryce's best bets. Everyone knows your record. It speaks for itself. Would you bet that Joel Embiid requests a trade? Yes or no?
No,
Okay. Next question. Because
depends on the odds, though.
all right, we'll look. We'll see what Vegas.
If he's plus like 500 to request a trade, I would probably sprinkle a little bit on it. But
We'll see. We'll see what Vegas has. The odds set at if Joel Embiid requests a trade. Here's my next question for you. And I didn't really get to see this guy play, but they were in the same draft class. And the team out in New Orleans, they just fired their head coach. Rumor has it that Zion's requesting a trade. Now, if you're Daryl Morey, do you call
yes,
up,
yes,
you call up the Pelicans and say, Lonzo Ball? Was Lonzo Ball and Ben Simmons in the same draft? No, that was Brandon Ingram and Ben Simmons. My bad. Lonzo Ball and Markelle Fultz was in the same draft. But I'm saying, do you flip flop Lonzo for Simmons?
Oh, I thought you were going to say Zion somehow. I thought you were going to be all excited.
No, we can't get Zion. Of course, I would trade everybody. I would get the city of Philadelphia for Zion Williamson.
Yeah, I was going to say, you know me, I'm the huge Duke guy, so
I'm sticking point guard, facilitate the offense. If you're Daryl Morey, do you call and say we'll do Lonzo Ball for Ben Simmons? Because I do think that question's going to come up this summer.
No, well, the issue is Lonzo's a free agent.
Oh, is he a free agent?
Yeah, there's like rumors that he'll go to the not Lakers. There's rumors he's going to the Hawks, maybe.
I saw Lakers.
Or not Hawks. I saw a big rumor Chicago. He might go to the Bulls, or he might go to New York Knicks. But I think, I mean, you could do a sign and trade.
Yeah, dude. Would you rather have Lonzo Ball?
But to me, no, it can't just be Lonzo for Ben. It just can't. Lonzo's jump shot's still not. You know what I mean? It's still not there. If Lonzo shot better, yes, I've seen some clips and I know he shot a little bit better from 3 and he's gaining a little more confidence. But we need. I mean, if they could throw in another piece, if I really look at that team and I can find maybe they need to throw in something. Maybe if they threw in like Josh Hart or something, maybe I could do that deal.
I think if Ben Simmons does get traded this offseason, I think it's going to be more like a situation.
Being honest with you, I don't think it's a what if. I think if they find a decent enough trade, it doesn't even have to be a great one. I think if they find a decent enough trade, I think they'll do it.
Well, I think it's going to be a lot like a similar situation that they had with the Philadelphia Eagles. it's going to be the Eagles, like how they traded Wentz and something else to get the Colts to take him. I think the Sixers are going to have to give up Simmons and something else just to get a piece in return. But the Lonzo Ball question, I think, is going to come up. Do you trade Simmons for somebody do you trade Simmons for a power forward, and do you sign Lonzo? I'm trying to think around the league who else you could bring in at point guard.
Derrick Rose is a free agent. I know that.
Derrick Rose.
I don't really love his game.
Like Joel Embiid's now 27 years old. You can't last long in the NBA at 7'2", close to 300 pounds. I think he's got 3 good years left, and then that's it.
I agree with you. Yeah, by the time he's 30, I don't think he'll be. I mean, I think he'll still be a good player, but
Yeah,
in perfect examples, you see guys like Hassan Whiteside and DeAndre Jordan, who were great when they were in their mid-20s, and now they're in their 30s and they're breaking down. They're terrible. I think another key part of this team is also I know Shake Milton. I'm pretty sure is a free agent. I would not bring him back. I love Shake, but
keep Maxey.
Well, Maxey's a rookie. He's going to be there for a while.
Does Maxey make his way into? If Ben Simmons gets gone, does Maxey make his way into the starting rotation?
I think we're all giving Maxey a little too much credit. I don't
get why you don't like him that much.
No, I like him, but I think you got to be realistic, Jim. Like I don't think he's like. I think he's a great player off the bench, but I don't think he's like a starting NBA point guard. I just don't see.
He's also younger than us. He's only 20 years old.
Yeah, but I mean, listen, you saw what Jason Tatum did at 19. At the end of the day, I mean, you could tell when someone's going to be a really special player. You saw Damian Lillard in his rookie season was already one of the best point guards in the league. I mean, we've seen Maxey. He's gotten time.
I watched Maxey play, and he's got the heart, and he does play well.
I just don't think he's that. I don't think he's just. I just don't. I'm being honest. I just don't think he's that good enough of a basketball player. Don't get me wrong. He could improve. He could improve and get a lot better, but as of right now, he's not ready to be a starting point guard on a championship caliber team. He's just not.
Where now? I'm interested. Utah. What's Mike Conley looking like? Is his contract still?
Oh, he's like one of the biggest deals ever. Back in the day, he signed that huge deal.
I know. And he did sign that huge deal, but I'm saying.
But I also think that
how many years does he have left with Utah?
I don't know, but I think that team's in a similar situation as us. I think they're like ready to blow it up. Donovan Mitchell, I would definitely bet to request trade.
So
I could if that was Bryce's best bets. Donovan Mitchell to request a trade if that's anything money line. I mean anything plus something, take that.
Now, if Donovan requests a trade, he gets up and out of there. Do the Sixers place a call for Mike Conley? Do you bring Mike Conley in to run the offense?
I would absolutely love to bring Mike Conley in.
So these are where I think Daryl Morey's going to look around the league. And I don't know if you watched the post-game conference. A reporter, I forget who it was, asked Doc Rivers, do you think Ben Simmons can be the starting point guard on a championship caliber team? And did you hear Doc Rivers' response?
No, I'm curious. What did he say?
Dude, he's like, I don't really know at this moment. We're going to have to see. And we're going to have to get him right in the offseason or something along those lines.
Okay, well, this is where I lead into a question for you.
That's an immediate, he's gone.
Yeah.
For me, that's an immediate, you're gone.
And this is where I lead in question you. Is Doc Rivers the head coach of the Philadelphia 76ers next season?
Bryce, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. And, we asked if Doc gives us an edge, and there's a lot of people who thought that he would.
It was me. It was my only bad take, I think, so far on this podcast.
And it wasn't only you. It was our fans. They thought that Doc gives us an edge because of his tenure in the league.
I saw a huge stat that raised my eyebrows.
This is 2 years in a row that Doc has lost game sevens.
Yeah, and this is another big thing I wanted to say, and this is a huge stat line that blew, had my eyes wide open, is that he's coached in 15 game sevens.
Yes.
That's not a good thing. That's not nice. That's not
good because it shows that you can't close.
And I don't know the exact record, but I know it's bad. I know he does not tend to do well in game sevens. He tends to lose them more than win them.
People disagreed with me in the offseason when we had a coaching vacancy. I was so strong on Tyronn Lue. I wanted him just because I loved him.
I'm the opposite. I don't think Tyronn Lue is it.
Look what he's doing with the Clippers.
No,
I know.
Yeah, I was wrong. He's clearly a better coach than I thought he was.
He's a championship caliber coach. He does
have. Coaches matter. It's another perfect example. I gave the point Steve Nash. I don't think he's anything special. I don't think he's ready to be a head coach. Steve Kerr, same boat. I don't think he's that great of a coach. I think when you get gifted the possibly the best point guard to ever live, in my opinion, I think Steph Curry is the best point guard to ever live, but that's for another day.
I don't know what happened in Houston with the whole situation with the blow up where Russell got traded, James,
Yeah,
the
D'Antoni.
attorney got fired, Morey left, and I don't know the relationship between Morey and D'Antoni, but I got a couple quick questions for you. Doc Rivers and Daryl Morey are close friends, but say they do decide just to blow this thing up, like you said, what if Doc's gone? Who would you call? Would you rather call Jason Kidd, or would you rather call Mark D'Antoni to be the head coach?
I'm gonna actually throw a curveball and give you a third guy who I'd rather call.
Throw a third guy in there.
Rick Carlisle. I'd give him a call.
Wow, I forgot about him. They said that on First Things First the other day that he walked away and Cuban's pissed. I forgot about that.
He's still Luka is now, unfortunately, it's happening. Luka's becoming a diva.
Give me Rick Carlisle.
Give me Rick Carlisle to be the Sixers because you want to know why? That I'll give one thing.
Coach.
First off, the Mavericks have never been like an unbelievably amazing team for his whole time being there. Dirk, obviously, we could talk about it forever. Dirk is one of the best players to ever live. He's a guy that people don't.
He actually just got a position hired, or he got hired with the Mavericks organization to be assistant recruit.
But I think we can.
I'm sorry, real quick before you get your point. Before we get ahead of ourselves for people listening, I truly don't think that we think Doc Rivers is gone. We're just doing hypotheticals right now.
No, yeah. I don't think Doc. I personally think that Doc will get 1 year.
Yeah, Doc signed a 5-year deal. He's definitely got 1 more year with us at least. But we're just talking hypotheticals. If the Sixers do decide to blow this whole thing up, I think Daryl Morey and the relationship with Doc Rivers he has, and within the Sixers organization, they're not going to get rid of Doc Rivers. But we're just talking hypothetical because it is interesting.
I mean, it's a possibility.
All these coaching candidates on the market. It's not like they're not good coaches. They are very good.
No, a guy like, and that leads me, a guy like Rick Carlisle out on the open market that's a steal for a team. I think Mark Cuban knows that 100%. He's a great coach.
Dude, thank you for bringing him up. I totally forgot about him. He's a very good coach.
I'm very high on him.
I look at a team like the Pelicans, who are young, got a lot of talent. Imagine bringing a Rick Carlisle into New Orleans. That's a good team.
I think. I also think. I listen. I saw my time with Jason Kidd as a head coach. I think he's just better off as an assistant. Some guys are like that. There's plenty of guys that are just better off assistants. I think a guy that should get a head coaching possible job is either Sam Cassell.
Okay, Houston. Is he Houston? No, he's with us.
No, he's with the Clippers. I think.
Clippers.
If I'm not mistaken. Is Sam Cassell with us? I don't think he's with us.
I think. Let me look that up. I think Sam Cassell's with us. I think he left.
Oh wait, I think he might be with us. Yeah, no, I think he is with us actually.
They call him like the shooting whisperer or something that he helps players. Let me check that.
The ugliest man alive. The ugliest man alive. Sam Cassell.
I think he's with the Sixers.
No, yeah, actually, I think he is too. Oh my God, how did I forget that? No, I think he is too.
Assistant with the Sixers.
Yeah, you know why? Because I got him mixed up. I got him mixed up with a guy that I also believe who should get a job is Chauncey Billups.
Oh my God, I forgot about him. He's looking for head coaching candidates.
Listen, Jim, I think we saw our time with Jason Kidd as a head coach of 2 teams, and he did not do well.
Who was he with? The Bucks and who else?
The Nets, when they built that, they tried to build that super team and traded all their picks, and it was like they got like the near end of Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett's career.
Just for everybody listening, Sam Cassell is with us. He's the assistant coach. He also won a title under Doc Rivers in Boston, which I never saw until now.
No, he was a really solid player. He looks like E.T.
That's not nice.
Yeah, no, it's not nice, but you got to call a spade a spade. No, I think
you gotta watch that though, because the good point bringing him up, but I never really liked the player and the coach.
No, neither do I.
I've never really been a big fan of that because, like, if you look, Steve Nash young, Tyronn Lue, it worked out, but he also had LeBron James and Kyrie Irving.
He also has Kawhi Leonard.
Now he's got Kawhi and Paul. So like he's gotten help. I'm not saying that he's not a good coach, but he's gotten help. Doc Rivers has gotten help throughout his entire career. Wherever he's gone, he's had at least 2 All-Stars on the team, at least. So with Chauncey, I think you can't send Chauncey to a team that is building up. I think you got to send.
You have to send him. You have to send him to a team with, like a Portland. He has to coach like a team like Portland, who's got a good, not bad team, not a great team, but a solid team. It's got one of the best players in the league. But I want to say one quick point.
Yeah, go for it.
When it comes to Rick Carlisle, and I always want to bring it back to that 2011 finals. And I know it's not because I'm a LeBron James hater, but you got to call the truth the truth. That Mavericks team was nothing special. They were nothing amazing. They were a solid team, and he coached them very well. And they beat a team that they 9 times out of 10 would have lost to.
Not just in that series alone. I mean, they beat the Lakers before to get there, and they also beat that Portland team that had help me
Brandon
out.
Rory.
Uh,
I don't really remember that team well. Marcus Aldridge was probably in his prime.
yeah, you had LaMarcus. Who was the player? Derek Roy? No, Patrick.
Brandon Roy. I just said that. Brandon
Brandon
Roy.
Roy. Yeah, he was a stud. So they knocked off that team. They also knocked off the Lakers, and then they
They
knocked
swept the Lakers. I was real down bad because I'm the big Kobe guy. So
Yeah, I was surprised that the Mavericks let Carlisle go. Supposedly, there's tension between him and Cuban because Cuban didn't want him to leave.
no, there's tension between Luca wanting them out because now Luca's becoming like a diva and he wants to
Yeah,
they made the issue is they made a huge mistake. Off topic, I just want to get into it. They made a huge mistake. I've been saying this for years. Kristaps Porzingis is one of the, if not the most overrated player possibly in the league. He's really just nothing special, and him and Luca just don't fit good together at all. They thought that'd be like a huge key. They thought
They
they
had a
get their
good
second
season the
star.
year prior. They had a good season the year prior. They almost knocked off the Clippers, but Kristaps did get hurt this year. I'm not giving him a pass either. And I'm not
He's
saying,
he's no superstar. He's just
yeah,
not.
I'm not saying that he's a. Um, I don't think he can be a number 2 guy on any team. I think he could be number 3 tops. But yeah, Luca. If I'm Luca, I don't want to trade. I would stay with the Mavericks.
Yeah, I'm already hearing he possibly wants out. Like
It's
this,
a good organization, dude. You know what I mean? Like
Cuban's
starting
a
with
great listen, the Mavericks are a cool team to play for too. They got great fans. I mean, that's a cool place to play.
Now, Bryce, here's another. Dude, this has popped in my head. I got to ask you this question. The Boston Celtics recently traded Kemba Walker to the Oklahoma City Thunder for Al Horford. Now, Kemba's been plagued with injuries ever since he got to Boston.
He's been very bad the last 2 years.
However, we do have an overall good defense, and Joel Embiid is very good with the pick and roll with Seth Curry. I know our backcourt would be extremely small, but do you make a call? Could you steal Kemba Walker from the Oklahoma City Thunder for picks? Because Sam Presti's dishing him out. So he's not staying in Oklahoma City. And would you make a trade if you're the Sixers to bring Kemba in to run the offense?
We must be thinking with the same head tonight because we've been on, we have agreed more than
We're on a tear. We just keep this going.
ever in our lives, not just in the podcast.
Another name just popped in my head too. And he's also a free agent. Could you bring in Dennis Schroeder? Not that he didn't have a great season, but can you bring in him to run the offense?
Oh no, I heard he might play for the Shanghai Sharks next season.
I think he stays with the Lakers. I do think LeBron likes playing with them, and that Lakers team was crushed with injuries all year.
I don't think Schroeder. I think Schroeder just got the the beef of like just the hatred to the fan. Like I think he got screwed with that. He didn't play bad at all for them. He's just not he's a great player, but he's just not you know what I mean? He's just not there. He's not like anything special. He's a good player. He's a good player.
Would you want Kemba?
So see, I used to be a really, really, really big Kemba guy. I watched him and he had some games this year where he had that spark. He had that old school Bobcats, Hornets Kemba, but
I was awesome with the Hornets. Awesome.
Man, he's getting paid a lot. I don't know if we could trade him. Okay. So Sam Presti, clearly he's scouting 6th graders. He's not.
Yeah, I saw a crazy statistic over like the next 3 years. I think the Thunder have like 32 picks.
They have 3 first-round picks in the next 3 drafts. I know off teams that they've got Houston's picks, and Houston's. I mean,
so can I ask a quick question? How come everyone had a problem with the Sixers doing this, and now the Thunder are doing it, and Sam Presti's getting all this love?
Yeah, no, it's funny.
Sam Hinkie got crushed. Sam Hinkie got fired.
Sam Hinkie, yeah, he got so I mean, I saw Red.
Now Sam Presti is getting all this love for how great of an idea this is. He's rattling off all these picks. Kemba's gone, and he's getting a pick for Kemba.
Yeah, so what I think though
not
is
not a first round pick, but he is getting a pick.
They have so much salary cap because they're not trying to sign anybody. They're literally trying to be a bad team, and even though they've got good players over there, but they're trying to be a bad team, and they'll just eat salary. So if we could work out a deal where they could eat a majority of Kemba's salary, I would give up a first round pick and take the risk because Kemba's still Kemba Walker. He could still play the game. He's just
you got to make sure that knee's healthy though.
I agree, but is it it could be the key piece, and it also I think every fan will agree. Kemba's a very likable guy. I think he's a great teammate. I actually read that Marcus Smart said he was the best teammate he ever had, which
Yeah, no, he's definitely good
that-
in the locker
I mean,
room.
it says something about Kemba. He was only there for a short amount of time, and Marcus Smart, who's been with the Celtics and who's played with Al Horford, Jason Tatum, these guys forever, said that Kemba Walker was his best, his best teammate. So
Definitely good in the locker room. He's definitely a good player to have in your
he's
organization.
still and he still has the potential to be an all-star. Yes, is he out of the prime of his career? Absolutely. We're not getting
It's so frustrating. And it's not like you have a lot of time left to make these trades. Like since Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid have been in the league together playing on the same team, I think they're the duo that that's had the most starting lineup changes. Okay. It's like the Eagles with that offensive line. How can you have stability at the quarterback position when your offensive line is changing every other weekend? How
Mhm.
can you have stability in your organization with the NBA and the Sixers when your starting lineup's changing every single season? So when you have guys in and out, you can't create that consistency or that chemistry. So now if you make this trade for Kemba, now that's another different point guard, and Embiid is only getting a year older. So these guys are all only getting a year older. So the window is closing. These guys aren't going to be around forever. This is
Jim, but another quick
yeah,
point I wanted to make. I could see the Sixers blow this thing up, man. I
Tim
really
saying. You would lose
not
the
me.
entire city of Philadelphia if Embiid goes.
I'm just being honest though. I could really see them blowing up. I do. I mean, I think it's a point that I think it's something that you got to keep in the back of your mind. I think it's a possibility.
But after this playoffs, the only person that you can get trade value for is Seth Curry and Embiid.
I think you could get something for
Quick
Tobias.
question. Here's a quick question, which I think is actually more important. Speaking on the bench, do you bring back Dwight Howard and do you bring back Danny Green?
So first off, I definitely would bring back Danny Green, and I don't know why. I'm like one of the only people. I'm not really that high on Dwight Howard. I would just let
I am.
him walk.
I see. I'm the opposite of you. I
I
would
would let no. Don't get me wrong. If we could sign him back 2 years, 10 million, sure, absolutely, bring him back.
Dwight. Sorry, go ahead.
I bring him back if you can get him on the vet minimum, maybe a little higher than that, whatever he is. Then yeah, bring him back. But I don't think he's a guy you want to pay like $15 million to keep
Oh
around.
no. We're not going to do that. But I do think Dwight Howard has been the best backup center we've had since Embiid's been in the league.
No, not even close. Yeah, he's
And I do
definitely.
think he helped Embiid throughout the entire regular season stay somewhat healthy. I know Embiid had that injury, but that wasn't anybody. That was just he landed wrong. But if it had to come down to who you keep, either Danny Green or Dwight Howard, I personally would keep Dwight Howard because I think that Matisse Thybulle, I don't want to see him in the starting lineup. I'd rather have Danny Green, but I think Matisse Thybulle or Forkron could fill in that role a little bit better than the next person we'd have in a backup center.
Now, see,
Does that make
I
sense?
think this is a big offseason bench wise because I think Shake and I think Furkan are free agents. Do you think the Sixers bring back both?
No. And if it comes down to, I think you bring back Shake. I think Forkron's gone.
So I think the issue is with the NBA is that's what people don't talk about. There's those crappy teams that have a lot of salary cap. Somebody might give Shake Milton $40 million. I know that sounds crazy, but someone might do it. It's the way the NBA works. There's guys like Derek Jones Jr. is getting paid like $20 million.
It'd be interesting to see both these players get more playing time on different teams. I don't want to see them leave, but it would be interesting to see how they would perform on a team that would allow them more playing time. I would much rather have Shake. I think he's more athletic and has much more potential than Forkron does. I've seen enough of Forkron. I think Forkron gets too hot and cold. Shake
No,
obviously
I
Shake
think
obviously only had one good game, but he didn't get a lot of playing time this year in the postseason at all.
no. I think also Shake has shown the ability to score everywhere, and Furkan. I think we all can agree we've just had enough of him. I think it's good if he just.
I don't like hearing the name Forkron. I'm running
No,
down.
like I mean, I like him. I like him, and he has a lot of heart. And he had his moments here. And I appreciate what he did for the Sixers. I like him. It's not like I hate him, but it's time. He's just not. It's
He's
just
a,
not.
he's a he's a good bench player. I you can't keep the team the way it is, obviously. But if it came down to Shake or Forkron, I think Forkron gets the wave goodbye. But that also depends, like you just said, money wise. Like if the Sixers can't match another team that has a lot of salary to give to Shake Milton, you're gonna have to turn around. You're gonna have to sign for Brown. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, dude, you never know with the NBA, man. These people get paid like crazy. There's plenty of players in the league that you can think of off the top of your head that are getting paid, and you're like, why are they making that much money?
Mike
It's just
Conley broke the internet a couple years ago when he got the max deal.
yeah, but I think Mike Conley's a really good player.
I'm just giving that as an example.
No,
Yeah,
yeah,
no one
no,
thought he was
yeah.
gonna, no one thought he was going to get 160 million. They thought maybe a little bit less.
Perfect example is like, I mean, oh my god, I remember who was the center? Timothy Mozgov. The Lakers gave
Mozgov,
him like
Mozgov, yeah.
yeah, they gave him like $70 million in it, and he averaged like 2 points and just ate up that whole deal and was part of that D'Angelo Russell
They
trade.
also signed Luol Deng. Remember Luol
Well,
Deng?
he's still getting paid. He's still getting paid. He's like Bobby Bonilla.
Dion Waiters they brought over. They started signing all these guys.
Yeah, like it's just yeah. Like, I mean, there's plenty of bad deals in the NBA, and then they sit around like I know like Hassan Whiteside's on like somebody's paying him a ton of money. The Heat are paying him a ton of money. Like
Yeah.
it's the way the league works. So I could see a team. I know this sounds crazy, offering Shea like a 4 year, $50 million deal.
I wouldn't be surprised. That's a good point.
I mean, because he had listen, you make your money in the NBA off the playoffs. And a perfect example, and I always use this guy as an example. Bismack Biyombo
Oh my God, the Charlotte
had
Hornets signed him.
had that series against the Raptors, or when he was on
He
the
was with the
Raptors
Raptors. Yeah.
against the Cavs, where he just like scored like 20 a series, had a ton of blocks. The Orlando Magic gave him like $85 million, and he became the same exact player he was before. And now he's just like sitting there eating that money, and everyone's like, why the hell is
I
he getting?
remember they gave him like 4 years,
And
84 million. They
he's the
loaded him up.
example. He's the example I always use. And what I mean is, Shake had some nice moments this playoffs.
Yeah.
Maybe some teams put that on notice. I'm just saying, there's plenty of teams out there that have a ton of money that want to get good, and he's not a bad player. I think Shake's a really solid player, but I would never keep him around for more than like $20 million on a couple of years of a deal. It's just
It's going to be extremely interesting to see what the Sixers do. As a Sixers fan, the only thing that I could ask for is you get Ben a psychiatrist or some kind of help just to fix it and say, listen, you can handle the ball well, but you'll no longer be our point guard. Go down, play power forward. You have Tobias at 3, and you go out and you sign Alonzo or a Derrick Rose, or you call for a trade and try to get Kemba. You need a point guard. You need a true point
they
guard.
can hit a 3-pointer.
We tried this experiment with putting in a 6'10" guy to kind of have like a similarity with Magic Johnson. Or you need a point guard. You need someone that's what will help the team.
So I want to give you a little scenario. If you had to bet on whether Ben Simmons is on this team next year, what would you bet?
If I'm a betting man, which I'm not a betting man, but if I had a bet, I would say there is a 40% chance that Ben Simmons is with us next year, a 60% chance that he's gone.
I think Ben Simmons is definitely going to be on the team next year. I know that sounds crazy. I just don't see him getting traded. But my key, what I would love to see Ben Simmons traded for, and I think is realistic. I think the whole packaging him up with a ton of good guys for Damian Lillard or Bradley Beal, I think that's out of the picture now.
Oh,
I think realistically, if we could get a guy like CJ McCollum for him without giving up a couple picks or without making it too. Oh, I just remember I would give up Ben Simmons, a first round pick, and that was like top 5 protected, and like a second round pick for I would give it up for CJ McCollum and probably Anthony Simmons, their backup point guard. I could see us doing something like that.
I know, but so you would put CJ McCollum at small forward. That doesn't.
Well, I think the Sixers will make moves in the offseason that could
Okay.
change that. But at the end of the day, I think CJ McCollum would fit this team very well, and he's proven that he can score. He's a 25 plus point guy a game. I've always been a big fan of him. I've kind of always been like, I mean, obviously you know me, I'm a huge Devin Booker guy, but like right behind them, I'm like a huge CJ McCollum guy.
If I'm the Sixers organization, you got to face the writing on the wall. Ben Simmons is not going to shoot anytime soon unless he takes care of the yips. I would try to get him some help first and see. But just the way Doc Rivers answered that question in the press conference, look it up after this show. And anybody listening, maybe we'll post it on our Instagram account what Doc Rivers had to say. it raised concern, and it left that feeling in my stomach, like my heart kind of like not dropped. 'Cause I'm not like, but it just like I'm like, whoa, that doesn't sound too convincing, Doc. You know what I mean? That doesn't sound too convincing. He might not be here talking about Ben Simmons.
I want to read you this quote that I think's funny, and it's a good way to kind of end it off. Shaquille O'Neal quoted and said this tonight after the game: "If Ben Simmons was on his team, he would have kicked his ass tonight. After tonight, in the locker room."
The other night after the Game 5 loss, supposedly Joel Embiid was so irate, so upset at Ben Simmons and the rest of the team that he had to leave the locker room immediately. He didn't even stay around, didn't ask any questions, didn't talk to nobody because supposedly he was so mad he was gonna he was gonna start hitting things. You know what I mean? Because dude, it was like nobody was out there other than Seth Curry trying to help him out. I actually
Yeah,
didn't hear Shaq say that, but it's funny that you brought that up. You got to be pissed. You got to be pissed. Ben Simmons could be the next LeBron James. I know you don't like hearing that, but if he shot, he could. But if's a big word.
I think. Man, I'm reading this. Joel Embiid just posted some like a depressing post.
What do you say?
He said, "Philly, I love you. Sorry to disappoint you again, but just know that I gave everything I had, knowing the circumstances. That if there's one thing I've learned,
Oh, your mic. I think your mic's covered, Bryce.
my bad, my bad. It's definitely covered. My apologies." He just said like, "Philly, I love you," and he's just he's disappointed about how the season ended the way it ended again, and how you know thank you for the support. And I feel like saying, "Don't worry, we're gonna get you a point guard," but I just don't know if they're going to.
I'm as a Sixers fan, I am truly, truly scared that he goes to that front office and says, "Trade me." Like, can't aren't you a little bit worried? That you got to ask that question.
No, I think he's going to go to the front office, honestly. And from what you just told me, I didn't know about this. I think he's going to say, "Listen, it's either me or Simmons."
Yeah.
I think that is the. I think
I
that's
asked, I asked
one.
my I asked my dad the same question, and it's not like it's a Kobe and Shaq situation because Embiid is just so much better than than Ben.
Yeah, I mean, at,
Kobe and Shaq were two dominant forces, so that
well,
was
well,
more like
Kobe at the time was like an up and coming, like he was
that was
really
more like
guy.
you got chocolate and vanilla ice cream. You know what I mean? Like, who do you want more? Pick your
Yeah,
flavor. Like what style do you want more? Pick one. You know what I'm saying? This is not like A versus B options. This is either I'm going or have fun with this. Or, either I'm staying or have fun with this. You know what I mean? This isn't two different choices. Pick the best one. This is you want me or I'm up and out of here.
I think that honestly, because I think Joel knows that Tobias Harris just played great all year, and even played great for. He had his moments in the playoffs. I think he just played really bad in the Hawk series because he played really well in the. He even played well during game, like the game I was at. He played really well in the second game. He dropped like 24 points, but it's that second half he fell asleep. I think Joel can get behind him, but I think Ben Simmons. I think he put the cherry on top of
What do
the
you?
ice cream.
That's a great question they asked me. What you say he stays, but what percentage would you give for a possible trade? 30%.
I know it sounds crazy. Yeah, I actually I don't know. I really think about it now that you told me that thing about Embiid. I completely changed. I think that's what's gonna happen. I think he's
So would
gonna
you say
go.
50-50?
Yeah, I do. I think I'm gonna say 50-50. I think he's gonna go to Daryl Morey. And first off, right now, obviously, in the heat of the moment, I think Joel is probably so fed up with Ben Simmons, but I think maybe time could heal that a little bit. They could get to working on the off season. Ben could prove to him that he's going to start shooting more. He's going to have more confidence in his game. I think maybe that could happen. But as of now, I could see Joel Embiid calling a private meeting that just with him and Daryl Morey, and and just sitting down and being like, "Yo, listen, Daryl, I'm going to be honest with you. Like, I'm in the prime of my career. I'm playing great. I was the MVP of the league, and Ben's done. I can't do it with him anymore." And I could see, him working out and seeing what realistically, obviously some time will have to pass because we're going to have to try the best to get teams to forget about how bad Ben Simmons played in the playoffs. But yeah, I mean, CJ McCollum, that's who I got my eye on.
Um,
Don't be surprised if he's a Philadelphia 76er next year.
yeah, I just don't know if he changes the offensive problems that we do have. He can shoot, and he can pull up from anywhere. He can, but he's not a point guard. And I think that's the position that we need. I think Seth Curry solidified that shooting guard position. To me, there's only 3 guaranteed players that I would say you guys can't trade for, like around the league. And I think the only players around the Sixers that are untouchable, are Embiid, Seth Curry, and Tyrese Maxey. I know you don't agree with Tyrese. I'm just saying for his young potential, I think after he
No, I think we like Maxey, but he's definitely tradable. Like honestly,
I don't think so.
I think they would trade him, dude.
He's younger than us.
I know, but he's not gonna be like a. You guys gotta come down to earth. Maxey's not going to be like a Damian Lillard. Like he's not going to be.
Saying this today on what's today's date? June 21st. Tyrese Maxey will be an all-star in the NBA one day. I'm saying.
My God, you guys got
throwing it out there.
You guys got to relax. Oh my
Bryce,
God.
thanks for coming on tonight. If you want to, do you want to say anything any last points?
No, let's go Phillies.
It's funny that you brought that up because the Phillies got absolutely crushed today. They lost 11-2.
Yeah, but they killed it the other day.
They won yesterday 13-6. Your boy,
I mean, there's going to be a lot more episodes about them now coming up.
Your boy Rhys Hoskins, 2 bombs, 2 home runs. After going 0 for 39, he hit 2 home runs.
Zach Wheeler, vote Zach Wheeler for Cy Young. I mean, he's no chance of winning it, but he's second to DeGrom right now.
Oh man, that dude's averaging about 9 strikeouts a game. Wheeler when he plays.
Wheeler for Cy Young.
Great signing. But yeah, more Phillies talk now coming up. But listen, now it's in the Western Conference Finals. The Phoenix Suns are leading the Los Angeles Clippers 1-0 in that series. And now we look forward to Wednesday. The Atlanta Hawks will travel to Milwaukee and play the Bucks. Bryce, who do you have winning that series?
The Bucks. Bucks are going to win it for sure. They're going to finish off the business. What I'm really excited about is the fact that somebody that hasn't gotten a ring yet is getting a ring. It's exciting stuff to me. Like, you know what I mean? Like Giannis is getting a ring. Either Giannis, Trae Young could win a ring. I mean, I don't think he will, but Kawhi obviously has a ring. But I think I'm saying it now. I'm really all focused on. I think it's over. I think the NBA champions, write it now, start the party. The Phoenix Suns. It's their time. CP3 finally, I think he's got it. I think he can pull this out. They can finish off the Clippers.
Recall though. Is he going to come back?
Yeah, I mean, eventually he'll come back, right? He can't be out too long. Oh, another thing. Tell me why LeBron James can go out to a club and party and not get the COVID protocol, but Chris Paul can't go up and hug his mother after a win.
You know why? Because Chris Paul is not the greatest player of all time. LeBron is. Leo, your boy Devin Booker stepped up today, 40, 11, and 13.
My favorite player. I mean,
great numbers.
Insane.
Great number. So you have the Phoenix Suns winning it all.
Yeah, and I mean, they're my second team. I always said that. I always root for them. Ever since I saw Devin Booker play live like 3 years ago, I've always just been a huge fan of all them. And I love CP3. I just want to see him win, man. He deserves it. I want to see him win. Devin Booker deserves it. That whole team. I love Monty Williams. I love that team. I love Aiden. I just want to see them win, man. I think it'd be really, really cool.
Yeah. No, it's a good series. And it's funny because remember that one episode we said, like, who do we have coming out of the West at the time? You said Clippers, I said Phoenix, and now they're both lined up in the Western Conference Finals. So that was good calls by us.
Yeah. I also said the Bucks. So.
No, you didn't. You wanted the Nets. You said the Nets were winning.
No, I did. I said the Bucks were slept on.
That episode you did say that you were nervous about the Bucks. You did say that. I'll give it to you. I'll let you pass with that one. But
yeah, you said you were nervous about the Heat. They got swept.
No, because we were talking about underdog teams, and you picked the 2nd seed Clippers. I picked the 7th seed Heat. That's why. But listen, Bryce,
I would have picked the Hawks.
No, thanks for coming on. Great episode. To all Sixers fans, we're sorry. It's a sad day.
But it's Philly sports, man. I mean, if you're a Philly fan,
it's just a classic Philly.
Yeah.
Series and season to see a team be the number 1 seed, to have an MVP type player and Embiid, and just so much
another wasted year. I think the process is over. I think it's done. That's what I wanted to make. I think it's like when I mean the process, I mean like Ben Simmons. I think was the second biggest key to the process, and I think that ship has sailed.
It's crazy.
I don't know how you feel if you're Ben Simmons tonight. The whole city hates you. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it.
Well, I hope I'm still, fingers crossed. I hope they can get somebody just to help them with the yips. It is a serious
No,
Dunk.
I really like Ben Simmons, but that him passing up on that dunk tonight did it for me. He did it
Yeah, you
for me.
could see it facially. It just he was nervous. He didn't want to get fouled. But listen, guys, thank you for tuning in, listening. Um, Stay tuned this week. Bryce and I are going to come on live Wednesday and talk more. And yeah, sad
I'll
day.
also be posting. I'll be we'll be posting more of Bryce's best bets. Just haven't recently loved anything, guys. Just I'm not going to give out any picks if I don't love them. I got to be fair to the fans. So
Yeah,
took a couple days off. This is when the NBA gets a lot harder to send out picks. I'm not going to give out a pick I'm not 100% confident in. So yeah,
no, great point there. Look out for Bryce's best bets.
people have been asking me. People have been asking me. They're like, I need a lock. I need something. I
Well, now
want to
you
get.
get now you
I
get
want.
devote more time to baseball. You might be able to make a couple more baseball picks now.
I want to. I want to. Yeah, I know baseball's back. Yes, baseball will be back for sure. But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to give you guys a pick that I don't agree with. That I wouldn't. If I was going to bet, I would take it confidently. So I'm not going to do that. Have to give it the way it is. So yeah, they'll be coming back. Be coming back for sure.
We'll never do that to our fans. But listen, guys, thank you for tuning in. Stay tuned for Wednesday for the 12th episode. And that wraps it up for today.
Got a lot of guests coming up. Got some exciting episodes coming. Get ready. Listen to us. Give us a listen on Spotify as well.
100%. Yeah, check us out on Spotify. We're also on any other podcast platform. So whether you guys listen to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you guys get your information, subscribe to us, follow us at the Brothers of Broad Street. Follow Bryce's account, follow my account. We always will be posting. And thank you guys for the support. We'll see you on Wednesday.
Go Birds.
Go Birds.